All right, welcome everyone to the Recovery First podcast. I'm your host, Mike Todd. We are live at the Askham Studios in Greenville, South Carolina. Tonight's show is brought to you by the South Carolina Recovery Housing Association. They have gotten out a little over 800 plus naloxone kits to housing and recovery housing statewide in South Carolina. A little bit about Freedom Recovery Center and the Recovery First program. It's an initiative and community program in Greenville, South Carolina, supporting those who suffer from substance use disorder by providing access to treatment, recovery services, and permanent housing. All right, so we have some local events coming up. The second annual Walk for Overdose will be on Friday, August 27th. We will meet at Pizza Bergamo in downtown Greenville and walk to Falls Park. I will be there with my bullhorn. I just want to tell everybody I do lend out my bullhorn. I don't hog the bullhorn. So if you're there and you want to borrow my bullhorn, I'm cool about it. Now, last year, I want to say this, we had over 100 people. I think we've got about 100 people signed up this year. Let's see more. We want to thank the Step family for organizing this event. We just want to ask everybody to come out and support these families of loss of accidental overdose. So the Catawba Nation will be having a recovery event in September. That's Recovery Month coming up next month. It's the Catawba, I love this name. It's the Catawba River Ramble for Recovery. It is September 11th. It starts at 8 a.m. And we're going to talk about this. This is going to be a kayak race. We will definitely talk more about this with our upcoming guest, Ericka, on the show. Real quick, the Jessie May Harm Reduction Bus will be moving to a new location. I think they're going to be kind of moving around a little bit, but they will be moving to a new location soon. It does roll around town, but it has one specific spot that it kind of stays in. So it will be in the old Kmart Planet Fitness parking lot off of Wade Hampton, kind of in the Motel 6 area, Red Lobster area, that kind of area. They will be giving out naloxone, clean syringes, and spreading love and dignity within the community, and also letting people know that recovery is possible. So if you want to help or volunteer, you can reach them at challengesinc.org. We want to tell you that the bus burns a lot of gas, and so go to challengesinc.org and donate to this wonderful organization. I've got my shirt on, my Challenges Inc. shirt. And let me just say this, and this number, I can tell you this right now. This number changes very often, and I just updated it today. Challenges Inc. has logged and they have reported 412 overdose reversals to date. Now, let me explain that little reporting process. That is like people who pick up the phone and say, hey, I need another naloxone kit or whatever. So that's not everybody. Everybody's not calling, but that's what they have reported. So you can imagine the impact that this organization has had on our community. So we at Recovery First Podcast would like to make the recovery community aware of the 1-800 South Carolina Recovery Housing Support Hotline. If you or someone you know is being abused, neglected, or exploited, you can confidentially report this at 1-800-396-7919. Todd just put it up there, 1-800-396-7919. 7919. You will be connected to a peer support specialist to help you in your situation. You will be treated with the utmost respect, dignity, and confidentiality. We're going to be talking to a peer support specialist tonight. And these are the kind of folks, these are the kind of wonderful folks that are helping with this initiative. So we want to remind everyone once again that the Recovery First podcast is brought to you by the South Carolina Recovery Housing Association. This is Mike Todd with the South Carolina Recovery Housing Association. I would like to thank Challenges, Inc., the Recovery Advocacy Project, and the Clinton Foundation for helping us get naloxone to all recovery houses in South Carolina. Let's bring on our guest, Ericka Adams Pursley, a peer support specialist with the Catawba Nation. It is so wonderful to connect with you. I was telling Todd earlier, you are very passionate, and you are the kind of people we want on this show. So I want to just ask you, Ericka, can you give us, we were talking about this before the show, and it's very interesting because a lot of people have not heard of the Catawba Nation. I've heard of it, but can you give us a little bit of history about your people in the Catawba Nation?
Sure. First of all, let me make my introduction. Tanake and Niyat Ericka Pursley, Mong Si Chure. I said, hello, my name is Ericka Pursley, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm the peer support specialist for the Catawba Nation. We are the only federally recognized tribe in the state of South Carolina, which makes us one of the 573 federally recognized tribes. Our people have been in the area that we have been, and also parts of North Carolina and Virginia, for over 6,000 years. We're known as Ye Iswang. That means the people of the river. Because a lot of our travel and livelihood we used by accessing the river, which still runs, by our reservation at this time. At one time, we had over 25,000 people in our tribe, but like a lot of other tribes, because of disease and other things with connection to outside influences, we number a little over 3,500 tribal members now. Our original reservation was over 145,000 acres at one time. Now we're a little over 700 plus acres of land where the reservation proper is. But like I say, all along the Piedmont region of North and South Carolina and Virginia, originally our people were.
Wow. Thank you for telling us about that, because I had no idea that we only had one federally recognized tribe, so to speak, inside. So it's just so great to get this information. And so can you tell us a little bit about your recovery path, maybe a little bit about your story? We'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, for me, life was really good when I was a child. I have two wonderful parents who are still married for 50 plus years. But in socially, it was hard because, as you see, I don't fit the stereotypical image of what people think a Native American is supposed to look like. As I made my way through life, I was too fair for a lot of the Native American people, and I always was proud to speak up about who I was and what we were about in school and every chance I got. So I was too Native for some other people, or they just couldn't believe what I was sharing, and I had to work really hard to prove myself a lot of times. So I think it really impacted my self-esteem a lot, which is where, some of my issues originally started. And then around the time that I was 18, I had my first child, and that didn't work out between the dad and I, and it just started this downward spiral of things not being what I thought my life should look like, and meeting the standards that had been set by me, by my parents, who to me are just amazing. I just wanted to live up to those expectations. So I began, like a lot of women, trying to correct mistakes. And then substances kind of started to play a role in that. And as relationships got worse, there came in abuse, and there came, worse mental and emotional issues. And I tried to be a functioning addict, keep everything to what I thought looked good from the outside, but really the people who truly loved me and cared me knew that it was falling apart. And so by the time I was around 24, I had 4 children, and I was a pharmacy tech. I was in a very abusive relationship, and I made a bad choice. I was taking narcotics to take and to sell, and I got caught. So I lost everything. Most importantly, my greatest blessing in life, my children, but I lost my home and I lost my freedom. I spent almost 4.5 years in maximum security prison, and it was during that time when my children would come to see me, and they would be in a lot of pain. And in a particular time, they had come to see me, and my daughter my only daughter, my youngest child, just was having a really bad day, and she just kind of had a meltdown, and I just broke down, and I went back to, this little tiny cell, and I was sitting in there, and I just thought to myself, God, either just, let me die or help me, because I just don't, I'm not who I'm supposed to be. I don't want to be this way anymore. And it really was like a light switch went off, and that was the beginning of the change of everything. So when I came back home, I did, the things that I share with people now, the really hard work for almost 2.5 years, going through counseling, going through treatment, and I didn't get it right the first time. So it was a long, hard road, but the thing was, I did get it.
Yeah.
And it brought me to a place in life where I realized that even though I had a lot of guilt and shame, and I had a lot of pain, that there was power in my message. There, in that mess. And so I started to go around and talk to people and share my story. And I went back to places where I had been seen, for domestic violence and other stuff. And in the process of doing that, the Creator started to speak to me, and I was going to school for something totally different, to work in the medical office, try to get back to that medical field, which has always been my thing. And it just all changed. And I realized that this was my calling, that there was something greater than myself in all of this. And so I went back to school again, and I'm earning my degree as a substance abuse counselor. And I connected with Bob Rice and the great people at Favor, and did the peer support certification. And now I've gotten enough credits and time. I'm working on my national certification.
Wow.
But it's just, it's my calling to take the things in my life and use them to help other people. It's a gift that was freely given to me, and I want to give that same gift to other people.
Hey, Ericka, as you were sharing, first of all, it's amazing to hear you share this stuff, but it's like, and I can relate to that, like when I feel it when you and I get together. It's like there's just there, you can feel the passion, and it's like don't you love like before I found my calling in life or my purpose, I call it my purpose. I'd be, oh man, I got to go to work. And, I get up every morning. Do you feel this way? I know you feel this way too. Like I get up every morning and I'm like, man, there's no mornings that I wake up and go, oh, I got to go to work. It's just like, it's amazing, isn't it? And I feel that from you. And so that leads me into the next question. And because, what are some of the things you love most about being a peer support specialist?
Well, I mean, for me, that this, it's personal. Unlike a lot of people who are peer support specialists, because I am a tribal member and I work for the tribe, I get to help my own family members.
Wow.
I get the opportunity to, like I say, to share my truth, and I'm able to make a connection with them that maybe someone else couldn't make, someone who hasn't had that lived experience and who doesn't understand their pain and who doesn't understand, why they do some of the things that they do. But I mean, I want our culture to be what it used to be. I want us to have the connectedness that we had, and I do this because I just want people to realize that in life you've never failed until you stop getting back up.
Right. Yeah. And we were having a conversation, and I was sharing with you, and I don't want to get in a whole lot of trouble here, but so I have a person who is very dear to me, who is a Native American, and I talked to you about that, and it's and I'll say this, like, he picked up the first white chip and I'm gonna keep his anonymity. I get all that, but he picked up the first white chip, and this was probably around. They helped start the first Narcotics Anonymous meeting in North and South Carolina. He picked up the first white chip. He's from Cherokee, and I'm going to tell you something. He has been so amazing to so many people. Of course, I'm gonna keep it anonymous. I don't want to get in trouble, but and it was amazing because, and he like became a circuit speaker and stuff like that. But he was so special to me because I would go to meetings and I would just there was some days I was just like, oh my God, I just can't do this anymore. And I'd go to a meeting and Dee would be there, and it would be like, and he would share about growing up on the reservation, and he was so funny. He was hilarious. And he's had some health issues and stuff, but he's still around. And by the time I'd leave, I would just be, laughing and carrying on. He just did that and has done that, for so many people. And so he did all that here, and then he went back to Cherokee. He took his recovery back to Cherokee, and I think you were talking about another organization, the White Bison. Is that correct?
Yeah, White Bison was founded by Don Coyas, who is also Native American, and they founded the Wellbriety movement. So basically what that is it's a modification of like the original AA-NA 12-step program that incorporates the medicine wheel and other indigenous aspects into recovery, just to give, Native American community something that looks more of who and what they are, because in society, the indigenous community sees so little of their self in everything, in TV, in education, and there are a lot of things about history that are inaccurate, and those things haven't been corrected. So, when you look at treatment and recovery, unless a tribe has that within their own community, they're outsourcing those things, and you're still talking about programs that don't look and sound anything like what those people are. And I think sometimes that can make it hard for people to make really deep connections. So anything that you can do to make that more relevant and relatable, they're going to be able to connect to that easier. So that's a lot of what that's about.
Yeah, it's amazing. We were talking a little bit about that on the phone, and it kind of made me think, like, when I first came into recovery, I didn't trust anybody. That's a hard thing, because the we is a big part of recovery. And so when you have a people that have been through these things, some of the things that the Catawba Nation people have been through, it's hard. It's got to be hard to, like, find that trust. And man, that's where you come in as a peer support specialist and others. And if I can ask you, how many peer support specialists are there? I mean, of course, we're going to talk about recovery services, and maybe we can wait to talk about that. But I want to ask you this: speaking of all your folks in recovery, and I know you love this. I love this. So you have a campaign, and it's called Recovery Warriors. And so tell us about. I love that grin. This is your baby. So tell me about Recovery Warriors.
So first of all, let me say that in our family services department, I'm blessed to work with some of the most amazing women. Some are tribal members and some are not, but we are a team. And we all have the same goal, which is to give our people the best opportunities and the help that they need. Our director is awesome. She rarely, if ever, do I hear the word no. So she's super supportive. But I'm funded through the TOR grant, which is a tribal opioid response grant under SAMHSA. And under that, our director created an initiative called FIRE, which means freedom in recovery and empowerment. So going with that theme, when after COVID, we were working with Favor to provide in-person peer support. And then, like everything else, COVID happened and everything shut down, including the reservation, the governmental offices, and we went to only virtual. Not until the 1st of June did we have the opportunity to come back in person. And of course, I was already doing that and helping with that the second that I got my certification. I got involved with the virtual groups before the tribe had even hired me or anything, because I was just ready to go and nobody was going to stop me. But I was just thinking, and I said, we're all in this together. We're like the warriors that our ancestors were. These really strong and powerful people that were going to stand up against all the things that, seek to pull us down and to hold us back. And I said, that makes us recovery warriors. Yeah. So from that, I said, well, that's a thing. That is the people in family services, the other community members in the tribe, our tribal leadership who stand up for all of our people, even those people who are suffering with substance misuse issues. And those are tribal members who are showing the other people in our community through their strength and their story that's for anybody. If you're just willing to take that first step and not be afraid to ask for help, and then from there, it's going to turn into a lot of things. Some of the initiatives that we're all working on, and that's creating a drug action task force on the reservation, a community watch. We want to see, and I know you and I had talked a little bit about this, but a mobile crisis response unit. So we can do Narcan distribution. So we can do harm reduction through, needle exchange and all these things that for a long time there've been a lot, and with some of our elders there's a lot of stigma with, but it's a necessary thing
Yeah.
because of where we find ourselves, like anybody in any community.
Yeah, and Ericka, that's what I was going to get into, and like you went into it, and that's fine. I mean, I was going to ask you about like the services and the things the Catawba Nation is working on. We talked about that, and I mean, absolutely. And I think that what we're doing in the Greenville community, like, because we talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago, or every week, is how united we are in the community here in Greenville, and with the mobile unit, and with our housing, and our HIV testing, which Adeline Fuller does over at Favor Greenville, and our community outreach. And this is exactly what we want. I can't wait for this. And we're recording this and we're going to get it all over the place. I can't wait for you to share it out and for everybody to listen to this. And that's what I was wanting to talk to you about, where like the services, and you kind of went into it. We talked a little bit about like recovery housing, and that you guys were working on some things like that. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think that, that's kind of a good segue into the Recovery Ramble event that we were talking about. So that is our initiative. We have a licensed substance abuse and mental health counselor, Haley Wade, who works for the tribe and is amazing. She's not tribal, but her husband and children are. So I tell her she's a part of the family, whether she wants us or not. But this is an event that she started last year, and it's part of Recovery Month. So raising awareness about the fact that people do recover, and our culture is recovery. But what we're wanting to do, and the proceeds from that event are going into what we're trying to create, which is what we're calling a healing village. And what that looks like are the building of tiny houses for people in recovery, and then having a facility, a village within a village, basically, where we would provide classes. If you need a GED, if you need to learn how to do a resume, parenting skills, life skills, whatever those things are, just so that people can get back to, just a normal and balanced life, but just be able to give them anything and everything that they need, because right now we don't have our own facility. So we have to refer out for detox and treatment. And we've made some excellent partnerships, and we continue to work on all of those things so that we are able to meet the needs of our people. But like I say, we want to do more of these things within our own community so that we can create a program that is more specific to culture, and have our culture, and as part of everything that we share and give our people.
Great, and I think that's fantastic, and it's what we do here in Greenville. So we have the housing that partners with the Phoenix Center, which is our county agency, that we all partner with. Favor Greenville, which brings in the recovery services, and let's kind of dream together here a little bit. Like, this can happen for the Catawba Nation, right? So you can have you can have your detox, your treatment, and your housing that works around that. And I love that. I mean, that's really one of my passions, is like helping people start recovery housing. I can't tell you how many, like my wife loves to like decorate the houses, and I like to just kind of just be there, because when I started in 2011, gosh, I realize I'm on my 10th year of housing. There was nobody. Like, my wife and I just kind of cleaned up a defunct halfway house, and there was nobody. I had no support. There was nobody. And so I said to myself, as I started learning everything, and I would learn as I went, and I would start policies like, oh my God, we need to start a policy for that. But I learned as I went, and I thought to myself, if I ever, once I got to this point, I was like, I want to help others. I just don't want others to be alone in doing this kind of stuff, because it can get very, very lonely when you don't have any funding or you don't have anybody. So I can't wait to watch this. It's just amazing. And so yeah.
Actually, Ericka, I have a question for you. With the Catawba Nation, where you're located at, are you in a vicinity near other tribes that are offering the same types of services, or are you are you on this on your own? Do you have other tribes reach out that try to partner with you guys as far as what your peer recovery services?
Not directly at this time, no, but that's what we want to work on. That's part of, like I say, with these initiatives of being involved with more facilities, with more organizations, and that definitely includes reaching out to other tribes to see if they've done these things. Is there a model, or what does that look like in their community, so that it's something that we can build off of, and in turn, if we're ahead of other people, and as we grow and get to these points, then we need to be able to do the same thing for other tribes who need that help. We can help them along the way, and point them into the directions of where to go and who to talk to, and help them, so that we can work towards healing all of the indigenous community, and like I say, also building the connected with the outside communities as well.
And so with the go through the name of the kayak race again.
Yeah,
it's a mouthful for me. So I don't even want to try to butcher.
You want me to do it, or you want Ericka to do it?
I just wanted to. Can you go back and elaborate on that a little more, just to let people know, open to the public, those kind of questions, because obviously it sounds like a great event, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to be able to connect with you guys on that.
Yeah, so it's the Catawba River Ramble for Recovery, September the 11th, and it's going to be an all-day event. The race will start at 8, and it's almost 7 miles down the Catawba River in either kayaks or stand-up paddle boards. And what we're doing is bringing awareness to recovery, to our people in the community who are in recovery. So we're going to have some of those recovery warriors there to share their story. We're going to have other facilities in the recovery community. So we'd love for that to be, Freedom Recovery. We'd love for that to be Favor. We'd love for that to be, we reached out to Challenges, to Phoenix, to as many, everybody that I deal with now in the recovery community, to invite them all. But we're going to have live music. We're going to have food. We're going to have a vendor fair, which will be tribal citizens selling pottery, beaded jewelry, whatever it is that they make. We're going to have drumming and dancing and singing from some of the people at our cultural center. And we're going to be giving out prizes. We're going to have raffles. Our casino donated a very generous gift that anybody would love to have. We have sponsorship opportunities available, and all of the funds that we raise are going into the Healing Village Fund. So every dime that we don't spend is going directly back into our community for recovery services.
I love it.
Is that something that you've actually had a lot of support with, from the casino? As far as getting behind you guys and, definitely helping build from within, that actually sounds like a really great thing right there.
Yes. So they were one of the first ones to get right back to me and commit to sponsorship as a tribally owned business. But, just to get the word out there, their raffle prize that anybody has the opportunity to get for a $2 ticket is a private bus for up to 40 people to the casino, and each person on that bus gets $25 to spend to play in the machines. So that was a super generous prize that they donated for the raffle. And then other prizes in the raffle will be other pottery and beadwork and just whatever we get between our citizens and sponsors and donations. So it's going to be awesome.
So I'm excited. Like, I'm thinking of like this big tent and all these individuals and passions coming in for recovery. And it's just amazing. And I think that's, Todd and I were talking about this podcast for a good while. And that's what we wanted to do, is like just get this information out to everybody so that they can, it's not necessarily that we gotta be in this organization, or we gotta do, like, we can bring these individuals and everything together. And so, like, as we wrap up,
well, actually,
go ahead,
and
Todd.
Ericka, I just wanted to throw in there, one of the things that I absolutely loved that you said was, if, when talking to other organizations, other tribes, has anyone else done this? Or, are we ahead of them, bringing them up, bringing everybody up on the same level, where there's unity in the community.
Yep.
You don't see enough of that. Like, outside, I mean, there are pockets, but that is, God dang, that is so freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, that's inspirational. I think that everybody that either listens to this or even watches this, from other organizations, they should take a note right out of that book right there, because that is, that is amazing to hear.
It really is. And to hear her talk about like to be able to acclimate things to help the people in the Catawba Nation while they're in treatment. You know what I mean? Like, if we're talking about all pathways, and everybody should have an opportunity, to their own religions and we should make that available. And I'll say this, I say it probably too much, and I'll say maybe I don't say it enough, is that when we are talking about advocating, okay, and this is really the core of this show. When we're talking about advocacy, we have to bring everybody. And if we're leaving one person or people behind, it's not advocacy. It becomes some kind of special interest or interest. And that's the whole thing. I mean, and I'm just thrilled by this show tonight. I can't wait for us. Of course, we're just taping it. We got a few people on, but we got a lot of plays from like the first, especially the first show, but we're going to get this out. I can't wait for everybody to see it. Todd, do you have anything else, or?
Well, no, and then, actually, Ericka, I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the guy with the golden microphone.
I don't mean to come back with
it's okay.
One more question. So if anyone wants to find out more about Catawba Nation, how do they find out about it? How can they get involved? There are plenty of great individuals in the community that, that may be local to your community that can come in and volunteer and help out. How do they do that?
Well, there's several ways. We have a really strong social media presence, so you can find multiple pages from the Catawba Nation on Facebook, Instagram. We have our own website, which is the Catawba Indian Nation website, so you can make connections that way. There are opportunities on there, and of course, if you want to volunteer or you want to help, you can reach out to me. My email is Ericka, ERICKA .Pursley @Catawba, CATAWBA.com. And you can email me, and I would love to send anybody information about the River Ramble event. So you can email me at that email. And the thing with everything that we've shared directly ties into this year's theme for Celebrate Recovery Month. Recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, and every community. And it's definitely for our people, because our culture is recovery. And we were a part of this community before a lot of other people and a lot of other things were ever here. And our perseverance and our strength will ensure that we will be here for all of the rest of time.
Ericka.
And we just had Haley Harris Wade comment with.
Hi, Haley. That's my partner's sister. So she shared the link for the River Ramble.
Nice.
So anybody
Thank you, Haley.
Anybody that's watching on the podcast, the live stream, that link will be in the comment section. You can always click on that to find out more. For anybody that's listening to the audio podcast, it's bit.ly. What is that, like /2021 River Ramble? So,
Well, and we'll continue to get this out for you too. And Eric, I love your passion. I can't wait to connect with you and all of us and the Greenville community or whatever. Like I feel like we've got the beginning of something here that's really special. And I want to thank you so much for your heart and can't wait for you to, like we talked earlier, like we got to get you to do a recovery share. And get that out for Recovery First podcast. Todd told me a little while ago, there's people in other countries that are listening to those recovery shares.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that, Todd, our producer.
So we're international now. We have listeners from Ireland.
Yes.
Wow.
Spain.
Yeah.
I think England's one of them. So that was pretty inspiring. India is another one.
India
And then as far as in the US, we've hit probably half of the country. So, we're really excited about the momentum behind where this is going. We're really excited to, with the reach of, just local community voices being lifted up together in unity and helping to get the message out about, just the beautiful things that are going on, not just in Greenville, South Carolina, but statewide, and this is a beautiful event. So Ericka, I thank you just for it was inspiring, and I'll let Mike go here, with the show. But I just want to personally thank you because I'm telling you, I'm dead serious. That really meant a lot. Hearing about just if we find another organization that is behind where we're at, bringing them up or working together hand in hand. Dang, that's freaking inspiring. I'd love to hear that. I absolutely love that.
It is. And, we talked about this too. I want to let everybody know, we want everyone, let me turn it around so everybody can see it. We want everyone to contact a community distributor for naloxone. If you have a family member that's at risk, okay, don't think that you're going to be judged. I mean, you're going to get to talk to people like Ericka, okay? You're going to get to talk to people like Ericka. And so get with the community. I'll give you an example. Freedom Recovery Center is a community distributor. Challenges Inc., Ericka and the Catawba Nation. I think you guys are getting ready to get your community distributorship. Looking forward to helping you with that. And if you need more naloxone, Challenges Inc. has lots of what we call intermuscular naloxone. Whatever it takes, we're going to get it out. Has anybody got anything else as we kind of wrap it up? This has been amazing. It really has. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much we appreciate this.
I just want to say hello. Thank you. And I wouldn't be doing my self-service if I didn't say, if you're somebody who's out there and you're going through something and you need help, don't be afraid to ask, because we're here for you. Yeah. If you're a family member who's watching somebody that you love suffer and you don't know how to help them and you're going through things yourself, there are people like me who are here for you too. All you have to do is ask. And, we in our culture, when we're on the right path, we call that walking the red road. So in Catawba, we say wong sikong wa sere. So just reach out to somebody, pick up the phone and call, and you can join us on the red road, and you can go from surviving to living and thriving. And that is for everybody.
Yeah. And that's what we do. I mean, and I'm going to say this. I understand we're going to have people contacting us, and I want to have a disclaimer here real quick. We're not looking for the front and back of people's insurance cards or, none of that. Okay. We are anti-patient brokering. We believe that patient brokering should be outlawed all over the United States. We celebrate any patient brokering state laws, and we may need to do something in South Carolina, but we're going to connect you to people like Ericka and guide your family ethically, and take you to professional people who can properly assess and do things like that. We're not going to be sending people states away or doing everything like that. We're like, this is what it's about. We're talking about community here. We're talking about the Greenville, South Carolina community, Catawba Nation, the state of South Carolina. So this has been fantastic. Just want to remind you about the naloxone. And listen, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Recovery First podcast. We'll see you next week. Take us out, Todd, and Ask 'em Studios. Thank you, Ericka.
Thank you.
So 30 years ago, when I first came into recovery, we didn't have recovery housing. If someone was seeking recovery and maybe coming to meetings and didn't have anywhere to live, we'd basically try to help them find somewhere to live. And that's how it all started. We all started basically living together and keeping each other accountable in recovery. Now, as the years have gone through, it's basically turned into an industry. And with that industry, there comes a lot of challenges. There's quite a bit of exploitation. You're dealing with a very, very vulnerable population. So that's the reason that we started the South Carolina Recovery Housing Association, to help providers, to help other recovery housing operators, to help mentor them, to advocate for them. And one of the things that we did right off the bat was we started getting naloxone into all recovery housing in South Carolina. We were very fortunate to get a grant from the Clinton Foundation and some help from the Recovery Advocacy Project and Challenges Inc. and Favor Greenville, and all of them combined have helped the South Carolina Recovery Housing Association to begin getting naloxone into all recovery housing in South Carolina, and to help train their residents on the use of naloxone. We believe that is the first standard that we need to accomplish in South Carolina. Recovery housing operators are a very valuable resource to those suffering from substance use disorder in South Carolina, and we want to advocate for them, train them, mentor, and just work with them with whatever needs that they may have. If you want to get in touch with us, it's screcoveryhousing.org.